Hey, welcome back to ESA Summer Online. We're raising money for Alzheimer Fonden. You can find links to donate below the stream to the great cause. And we'd also like to thank Kaspersky, Twitch. Oh my god, I said that the wrong way around. Kaspersky, Twitch, and ViewSonic for sponsoring the event. But now it's time for D Cosmic running the second Devil May Cry run of the marathon, Devil May Cry 5. Take it away.
Hey, so my name is DE Cosmic, and this is Devil May Cry 5, the latest installment of the Devil May Cry series. I'm joined today by my good friends Scruffington and Wifey, if you guys want to say hi.
Hello, everyone.
Howdy.
And we're going to be slaying some demons with the greatest of ease today. So I'm going to count down from 3, and then we'll just go ahead and get the run started, and I'll lead it off. So 3, 2, 1, go. Devil May Cry. So basically what happens at the beginning of this game is there's a demon king by the name of Urizen, who has descended onto the denizens, or to the citizens of Earth, and has decided that he needs to fuel the power of his big tree, called the Qliphoth, I think it is. The word always trips me up. So the gang, it goes to get washed by him, basically. And we're introduced to the first playable character, which is Nero, who wields 2 signature weapons called the Red Queen and the Blue Rose. The Blue Rose is a magnum that you'll be seeing here momentarily, and the sword that is called the Red Queen, and it has a motorcycle engine in it. And the main mechanic that we're going to be using throughout this run to do damage is called the Exceed mechanic, where you'll see and hear a sort of revving like a motorcycle that Nero does. And this makes the weapon do more damage and makes it faster.
Yeah, because everyone knows that revving your motorcycle makes it faster.
Yeah, absolutely.
And do more damage.
So these first enemies here are called the Impusa. They're sort of like the cannon fodder of the enemies here. We're just got to take them out here with a couple of quick slashes and a little drop kick there, you know, totally intentional. So, like in Devil May Cry 3 that we just watched, we are using the currency known as Red Orbs, which we'll be buying actually a lot of stuff during the course of this game, because we have 3 playable characters that we're going to be using that all need a lot of upgrades in order to function to the best of their ability throughout this run. But first, we're going to go, and like I said, we're going to go and get washed by the Demon King. So this is a force fail. It's one of, I think, 3 force fails in the game. And the way we're going to manipulate him here at the start is to jump to the left, shoot twice, and then taunt. This is going to cause Urizen to go ahead and do a fireball right here into some ground pillars as well, because we want to just take as much damage as quickly as possible. We can just keep doing the same thing here as well. Just jump left and then taunt. Avoid that little slow bubble there. That's not what we're about, dude. And we'll be wrapping up here this in a second.
Yeah, and to address the memes that are inevitable, as they always are, yes, you can beat the boss, and yes, it does give you credits, but this is not any percent, this is new game. So that means that we have to play through every mission in the game. There is a category where you just beat the boss here and get credits. That's called prologue percent, and it's actually really cool. There's this mechanic where it uses ghost data from previous playthroughs or other players if you're playing online to basically use that data to inform what the other characters that are in the scene are going to do. So if you set it up in a specific way, then you can make it so that Dante's ghost data basically insta-kills the boss for you, and then you walk into the arena and kill it super fast.
Yeah, it's pretty sick. So now that we got washed by Urizen, we're going to get introduced to Nero's mechanic called the Devil Breakers. And the first Devil Breaker that we're going to get is called Overture. It creates a lightning hand when we use it normally, and when you charge it up, it actually allows us to plant bombs on enemies. And so this first mission here, this is actually just called Mission 1. We're going to be planting 3 bombs on the boss here in order to kill it quickly. And I will just need a little bit of quiet here, because even though this fight is pretty much the same every time I try to go for this in a marathon, I never land it, so I would like to be able to land it this time. Alright, so here we go.
What a lovely house plant.
Like that? Then have some more. Oh, swinging them. Happy birthday. Now make a wish. Oh, you.
There we go. Alright, so planted 3 bombs on it, 3 overture bombs, and then just shot it, and it's gone. So I should note that it's really important to no damage a lot of these missions, because you get so many orbs as a result. You see there the no damage ×2 bonus. in addition to the no continues bonus. So we're going to end up with a whole lot of orbs on this next mission.
Yeah, and as opposed to like DMC3, this one, it is very, very important that you get those S ranks and you get those no damage bonuses, because there's 3 characters, like you said, that you're going to have to buy stuff for, and for the most part, they don't really share anything across them. So you're going to need a ton of orbs so that you can deal with enemies effectively. And since there isn't really much mechanics like Royal Guard in 3 in this game, a lot of the fighting is going to be very meticulous and like very thought out instead of as impromptu or on the fly.
All right, so here we go. Picked up a few abilities there, namely Streak, which is Nero's form of Stinger, as well as Split, which is sort of like his ground slam with his sword, and we're picking up Roulette Spin here, which you'll see in a second. So this fight right here is sort of just the chump change enemies again. The way you optimize this fight is you just want to make sure that you kill 2 enemies per jump. So here, just 1, 2, 3, and then 1, and then Split. There we go. Should be 1 more here now too, okay. So who wants to talk about Gerbera? Should I talk about Gerbera? Let's talk about Gerbera. It's a pretty cool arm.
What are demons doing in a city like this?
Alright, so I'll talk about Gerbera.
Yeah, you can go for it.
Alright, so Gerbera is named after a flower, I believe. It's the 2nd Devil Breaker that you can pick up. Allows you to do sort of that little air dash there. But it also has another ability where if you're in the air and you've charged up the Gerbera, you can launch a bunch of little lasers everywhere. And they actually bounce off walls, and they'll be really important to the boss that we're coming up on here at the end of the mission. This is also, you might recognize these guys from the last game as well. These are the Prides from DMC3, but they're renamed to the Hellcana. Alrighty. So here we go.
Riding high.
And like I said, a lot of the fights in this game are like going to be way more meticulous, and that makes it so that you can do some really cool setups for killing enemies like very fast. Like this is one of the cooler kills in the run. It's coming up here. He's gonna basically just sweep the whole room all at once.
He doesn't seem like a demon to me.
Who wants to talk about that kill? Because that's a really cool kill.
Sure, I could do it.
Oh, yeah, go for it.
So essentially, Cosmic's going to pick up the Overture here, and in the next room coming up here, there will be 2 Hellcanas that spawn. And essentially, well, there will actually be 3 in this room. So the first one he's going to kill using Roulette Spins, and then 2 more will spawn after that. So he'll target the camera onto the back of the Hellcana, and then dunk it onto the first one. And then he'll shoot it, and then they both die.
Such a cool strat.
This again?
Yeah. It's one of my favorite rooms in the speedrun.
100%. This next room is sort of a rare example of two different waves that aren't timed by how fast you kill enemies. It's actually timed by how just by like a timer. So we used to dump Gerberas in this room with this charged up move called Petal Ray, but it didn't actually save us any time, so we stopped doing it. So this is also a pretty cool kill here. We're actually just going to do a backflip to the door, which will save you a little bit of movement.
Looks so cool.
It's so good. Alright, and then there's actually sort of a dev-intended skip here, where the road will actually collapse as I'm going back across it after grabbing this Nidhogg hatchling, which is basically this game's version of Keys. And we're just going to do 1 air taunt over it, and then a couple of Gerberas, and then we'll just skip the entire fight that spawns down here. And then we'll be moving into Goliath. And I'm actually going to need to concentrate for that, so if you any of y'all want to just take it away and explain what's going on.
Yeah, basically, Goliath, he has a couple different phases. You can ideally kill him before he leaves the church, but he does this chest beam cannon, and you have to kill him before he starts doing that. Otherwise, he gets into an invulnerable state where you can deal damage to him, but he'll never die until the attack ends. it's very important that he tempers his damage here because he wants to do just enough so that he can deal the maximum amount of damage before he gets to the next phase, but not too much that he triggers it early. As well as he really, really, really wants to not get hit because he needs that no damage bonus for the route. So if he has to sacrifice the quick kill to get the no damage, he's definitely going to do that. But ideally, you get both.
I don't think I'm getting it actually this run. I think I missed too many exceeds. So there we go. Okay, so not going to get the quick kill here, but I am going to be able to pick up this overture here to just finish off Goliath. So he's just going to jump out. So normally he would just die right there. And then down he goes. So another no damage bonus. This is not going to be so important on this mission here, coming up mission 3, but it is going to be very important for mission 4 and 5. Because when we get to the character V, there's a very expensive skill that we want to buy called Skewer. That's going to be allowing us to go out of bounds to skip basically half the level, or like 75% of the level. But for now, we're still on Nero. So we're going to buy 2 of our new arm called Punchline. And this isn't so much useful in the upcoming fights as it is going to be for the out of bounds coming up. We're going to use we can actually ride on Punchline like a skateboard, or like the wild rides that you saw in DMC3. And that's going to allow us to navigate around out of bounds really easily.
Yeah, and DMC5 most notably has significantly the most amount of skips out of any of the DMC games except for the reboot. And a lot of the money route is actually routed around those skips because, in particular, the V skips are super heavy on this run. Capcom heard our praises and let us skip the V missions.
Heard your praises.
Okay, maybe they heard my praises, but praises were heard.
That's true. That's true. So here we go. Take these guys out. And this game shares a quality with, I think, all the modern DMCs where if enemies can't actually queue up attacks off screen, so if you just keep them off screen, they can't they'll try to get on screen to attack you, but you can control waves that way, which is what I did with the fire bats there because I didn't want them to hit.
Yeah, that's a classic Capcom AI behavior. It happens in almost every single one of their games. As soon as enemies are off screen, they usually just go full Pepega and just forget that you exist.
So here we go. Here's the out of bounds right there. Oh, nice and clean. Excellent. Actually, first try. So there, for whatever reason, if you split onto that ledge there, you can just sail out of bounds. The game just decides to send you onto the water, and we get to see walking on water Nero, and then we're going to be skating over it with the Punchline here. And this is actually going to cause us to skip the entire sewer section of this run. It's going to take us straight into a fight in the library against an enemy called the Sin Scissors. And they're just giant specters, basically, that wield, you guessed it, huge scissors. And we're going to use a mechanic in this game called the parry, where we're going to be able to attack them while they're attacking us. And that makes them into a vulnerable state, and it's going to allow us to one-shot them very easily.
This is also called University Skip because there is a picture of a university as the skybox for some reason.
Alright, so here we go. So what we're going to do here for these enemies is just taunt, or just snatch and then taunt, and then do a split as you see the glistening, or the gleam on the scissors. This enemy is going to rear back, and then Nero's going to walk forward, and then shoot. There we go. Very nice. Here you can just use Exceed. This will actually prevent Nero from going into the stun animation here. Artemis here. Again, another thing where I'm going to have to concentrate, so one of you want to just take it away?
Sure. So for this battle, it's really important to use the Punchline here. Essentially, you're going to start off by charging it, and then making a beeline straight for Artemis. So you're going to charge it up, do I believe a roulette spin and 3 attacks, and then you're going to use the Punchline, and it'll send Artemis to the ground. So it broke here.
Yeah,
So essentially, yeah. So eventually he's going to try to get close to Artemis and then try it again. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
so
Artemis-
he got. Oh yeah, he got bad RNG there, and that
Yeah.
basically just means that he had to pray that those flying shots would just not hit him. If they didn't, then he could have like a really solid setup to just stun lock the boss to death. But unfortunately,
This is really bad because I think I forced her through the middle phase too.
Yeah. Pretty unlucky.
and also he lost out on that no damage bonus, even though it didn't look like it did very much damage at all. Just getting hit like that just rips that double orb count.
There we go. Okay. So there's going to have to be a slight adjustment to the orb route here, where normally I would be picking up 3 purple orbs with V on this mission. I'm actually just going to pick up 2. Maybe grab like an extra orb tree or whatever. That was actually like a really bad Artemis fight. Like, if I did a little bit too much damage to her there, I should have just waited until she was in like the 50% health range and then let her go to the middle, which makes that a lot easier. But, you know, moving onward, we're actually introduced to V, who uses 3 summons in order to fight. He actually doesn't fight at all by himself. He is basically just a weakling. The only thing that he does is finish off the enemies for the summons, because they are demons as well, and it's like an actual limitation that they can't kill other demons. So he's just going to be using his cane in order to rob them. You'll see enemies going into sort of like a pinkish, like pale state, and then there it is right there. Then I have to actually finish them as V. Some of these finishes are pretty cool though. So.
Yeah, and
You're
it
right,
is a
bro.
little faster. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, you're right for some donations, Quick?
Yeah, go for it. Yep.
Alright, cool, thanks. So yeah, we got a $10 donation from Demonic Robots, who says, warning, this run contains high-speed gaming, extreme puns, and epic action. Holy Water Heroes presents an epic DMC5 starring D-Cosmic and ESA. Good luck on the runs, and remember to ride hot. And they put their $10 towards Alone in the Dark any percent, the character choice of Emily Harpard. So yeah, thanks a lot for your donation. It's all going to the Alzheimer Fonden, the Swedish Alzheimer Foundation.
And then, so that skip that you just saw there was called Fence Skip. You actually just can swing V's toes through the fence there in order to hit the cutscene trigger, and then that just brings us out of that mandatory fight. Funny fact, though, those bats are going to probably follow us into the final boss fight, because for some reason that fight is really weird, never deactivates. So there's a chance that those bats could just find their way into the final boss fight here.
My headcanon for that skip is that V drops his sandal on the other side of the fence and the game just kind of lets you get it.
Right. I think we have time for another donation, if you have it.
Yeah, sure. We got a $5 donation from Leave3D, and they say, "Excuse me, sir. Excuse me, sir. This is a Devil May Cry. Gamers be gaming, and best of luck on your run." And they put that towards the Dark Souls any percent ending choice, Link the Fire. Yeah.
So a lot of what you'll see me doing with V is I'm really just kind of like hanging back from the fights, and I'm powering up the animals with my Devil Trigger. In this game, V can actually spend stocks of the purple gauge that you see there, which is his Devil Trigger, in order to give the animals more attack power. And they also do an attack at the very beginning, like you see there. So there we go. These guys are down.
Yeah. And this is optimal because what you would normally do if you tried to Devil Trigger as V is it would spawn Nightmare, which is a big buffoon, and there's no guarantee that he will be helpful at all. So you just opt to basically just not use him at all, except for like very specific circumstances, because his entrance is RNG, and then sometimes he just will like stand around and like literally do nothing.
He's sometimes like the best boy, and then other times he's just not the best boy.
Oh yeah, if you get like amazing RNG, sometimes they'll like totally wipe a room. But I mean, like, are you gonna gamble it? Like,
Maybe somewhere down the line, a few years, when I have to squeeze out another 0.5 seconds. Oh boy, that was almost fatal. V can also read a book. I forgot to mention that. He's checking out his favorite manga tags manga tags, however you pronounce it.
He is very literate.
He is. That's how you can actually manually charge the Devil Trigger that way. So while the pets are, you know, sort of wailing on the higher health enemies here, I'm just sort of reading just to get a little bit of extra Devil Trigger out. It's going to help me do a little... Ow, he's recovered. Okay. Help me do a little bit extra damage. This fight here, Nidhogg, is actually very reminiscent, to me anyway, of DMC3 servers, where there's 3 heads that you have to take down in order to knock the boss down. There just also happens to be a main body there, too, as well, which is also sentient. So, here we go. So, this boss is also sort of meant to accentuate like what V is built around, which is the target selection. Oh my goodness, that hit me? Wow.
Rip with the no damage.
Rip, dude. It was looking so promising too. It's fine. So once we take down this last head here, you'll see Nidhogg just sort of go down. And then we're going to actually just use the pets in Devil Trigger in order to take him out. And then we're going to readjust Griffin here as well. Whenever V does a double jump, it will take Griffin with him. So I realigned Griffin there in order to be able to do a bunch of lightning pillars to Nidhogg. Let's see if we can actually get the good Nightmare Call here. Very nice. Okay.
I don't think that's the best one, but that's a good one, right?
That's the first one that you'll get, like, it's the first one that you'll get if you summon him. But, because you have to do, like, in order to get the Meteor one, you have to actually, like, summon him twice. But I've only summoned him once here just because he's been very uncooperative lately in terms of this fight. So he should be going down pretty soon here. There we go. And down goes Nidhogg. Alright, so this next skip, we call it Sewer Skewer. And basically I'm going to be buying the move Skewer for Shadow, which is going to cause his head to turn into a large spike. And if you can stand on that spike. So if you are in contact with that spike during and you're colliding with it in such a way that the game wants to force you on top of it, you can actually force you through walls or out of bounds. So what I want to do, ideally, is to push myself through 2 walls in order to get to near the end of the level. And this is most easily done with Air Taunt. So let's actually pick that up first. Alright.
Also the coolest name for a skip in the whole game, for sure. Sewer Skewer.
Sewer Skewer, yeah. It's the one that I came up with. I usually can't name the skips, so I was happy to be able to name that one. Last time I didn't name one, we ended up with Cosmo Climb.
Now to find the next.
So here we go.
That's a good name.
Alright, let's try this out here.
Come on.
Oh, nice, excellent. Good stuff.
Oh, perfect.
Ooh, first try.
And I should note as well the amount of distance that I actually traveled on that spear. Scruffington and I were actually talking about this recently. We're pretty sure that the amount of distance that you travel on a spear while going out of bounds, or through bounds in that case, is dependent on frame rate. So the higher your frame rate is, the more frames that you're technically in contact with the spear, so you can travel further along it. Scruffington plays on console, and he has a lot more trouble doing skips like that. And there's another one that you'll see later on in Mission 7 that requires me to sort of travel through bounds again to skip a fight. And it's a lot harder on console because of less frames per second.
Yeah, that's one area where the PC and console versions of this run in particular are different, because on console at least, we don't quite get the skip as well as Cosmic does here. Instead, we end up doing the Queen and Pusa fight just before that plant. So it's a little bit slower, but not by too much.
Console also has its upsides in this run, though, too, because console has some exclusive skips that only work on the earliest physical release version, if I recall correctly.
Correct.
Yep. So the skips for console would be on missions 11, 12, and 16, so they're pretty much all on Dante. But unfortunately, we can't use them on PC, so we won't be seeing them in this run.
Yeah, they were patched out on the digital releases because there was a glitch with Dante's ground trick that just caused him to be able to just warp out of existence and just go wherever he pleased in missions. This is Gary, and we're actually revisiting another DMC3 boss here. This game just loves to reference the other games. This Garion also likes to control time, but also has a knight that rides on top of him. And the way that you optimize this fight is with the addition of Skewer into the route, you basically just have to dodge the attacks from Garion, and then just make sure you can hit as many skewers as possible. So you see a lot of damage there coming out.
Yeah, this is a good demonstration of how crazy powerful Skewer is, just in normal battles and boss battles as well.
There we go. This was actually a really nice Garion fight. Here's the Shadow Shuffle. Shoutouts to Time Thief. And then he's dead.
No clock can measure.
Great fight.
Yeah, really good fight actually. Better than I thought I was going to get. So the next boss, Gilgamesh, is... I actually like this boss a lot because it reminds me a lot of... That was no damage. Oh, okay. I'll take it.
Pog.
I don't think I've ever seen that before.
Okay, well that just put the orb route back on track. Gilgamesh here, sort of a shout out to Shadow of the Colossus. I know you really like this boss, Scruffington, so I'm going to let you talk about it.
Yeah. So Gilgamesh is he can be pretty annoying later on in the fight, but essentially at the start you're going to go for Gilgamesh's legs because each of them have a weak point. So you do enough damage to the weak points, and Gilgamesh will fall to the ground. And when he does, there will be a red plant that's exposed on his back. And if you remember what we did back in Mission 1 with the, or what Cosmic did back in Mission 1 with the Qlipoth roots, where he dunked 3 overtures into the plant, he'll be doing mostly the same thing here, except he's going to keep the 3rd overture for damage, which we'll see in a bit.
So here we just kind of want to stand under Gilgamesh until he decides that he's going to come down. This boss is pretty scripted up to a point. And you'll notice what it is because he's going to lurch backward, and then there's going to be a 50-50 chance that he gives me a bunch of spikes on his back or just none at all. So here's the dumps of the Gerber or the overtures, and then we're just going to blow them up. And this is the first instance we'll see actually of Overture's regular move called Battery.
Yeah, this is the real annoying part of Gilgamesh, because he's constantly trying to knock you off his back, and it can be real hard to get back on there.
Yeah, once you fall off the Scarab, those sniper jackals, dude, they're real scary.
Okay, oopsie. Excuse me. That's not what I wanted to do. What?
The insane save? What?
What is going on right now with this boss, dude? I'm trying to like stay on its back here. Okay, let's try this again, actually. Gilgamesh. Will you love me now? Thank you. Okay. Alright, awesome.
It's safe.
So also no damage, which is important. And this right here, this next mission, Mission 7, we used to actually play Nero on this mission until all the V-skips were found. And then we switched over to Nero. We skip every mission, or every fight on this mission, except for the last fight. This is also probably one of the hardest, I think this is probably the hardest skip to do in the game, at least in my opinion.
Oh yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah, the first clip through the scaffolding is really annoying because you don't have much room to work with to actually set up the skewer skip.
And you actually are trying to clip through 2 walls. If you only clip through the first one, then you get stuck in like this weird in-between area that like it's really hard to clip out of that again. And if you clip too far to the left, then you trigger a fight in that room, and then you have to kill all the enemies before you can leave.
Alright, so here we go.
Come on.
There we go. Very nice.
Very good first skip.
So this next skip is actually just what's going to take us all the way around to the final fight. And I will just need a little bit of quiet while I do this, just because there's one part of this skip in particular that's super finicky.
Come on.
Okay, first bit's over. So now what we want to do is there's an escalator that we have to actually jump along the bounds of it, like the very, very edges. And then we're going to have to make one final jump that's really finicky in order to get up to the next part of the area. You can also see this really cool park bench at some point here. There it is. There it is. Okay, cool. That's a nice park bench.
The reason this jump is so finicky is because when you're out of bounds, there are certain locations, like the big invisible boxes when you're out of bounds, that you can't actually jump with Griffin. So you have to make sure to avoid those boxes, even though you can't see them, because you need that double jump.
Uh-oh. This is not good. Oh, uh-oh.
Thankfully, if you fall out of bounds, it saves a checkpoint for you, based on like where you were last standing. That's solid ground. This is a very interesting one. I have not seen this
Yeah,
checkpoint.
This is
I've
this
seen
is
that
not
either.
good. Yeah, this is not great. Okay. Okay, phew, we did it. All right. So the worst is over. You can actually just walk across this, even though it doesn't look like you can. And then you're gonna hit this checkpoint here and just wait for the game to save. And then checkpoint right back in bounds. And then we're gonna go ahead and do the fight here against the Angelos. And there's two types of Angelos in this game, where there's the Scudo Angelos and the Proto Angelo. The Proto Angelo is going to be the big leader with the Claymore, and we're actually going to be trying to use an exploit called, I just call it the Angelo exploit, where if you technically parry the Angelo's formation here with an attack, the enemies will glow a pale, the pale pink or whatever that V puts them into, and you can just instantly kill them. So let's see what we can do here. So there you see it right there. Wasn't able to get to him in time in order to instantly kill him. There we go. Instantly down the Proto-Angelo. And then there we go. Done. Alright, so that's mission 7. No damage as well. Excellent. That's what I like to see. This
Very
mission,
good orb route.
yeah, this mission is sort of a little bit of downtime. So if we've got a little bit of, if we've got some donations, now's a good time for them.
All right, perfect. I was about to ask. So we got a $30 donation from Smash Villain, who says, "I can't think of anything witty to say. So simply, much love to Cosmic, Scruffy, and Waifu. Y'all the illest."
Thank you so much. Much love.
I read that as it was spelled.
The illest, yeah, the illest. I
Yeah.
respect it.
Okay.
I respect it.
So yeah, thanks a lot for that donation. And I will let you know about a upcoming donation incentive we have for in a couple runs time. We have a Crash Bash run by Pi, and during the run, there's an opportunity to try to win one of the mini games by doing literally nothing. And it says, just like the Luigi wins by doing absolutely nothing clip from Mario Party, 40 minutes into the run, there's one challenge with a high chance the AI will lose with Pi doing nothing. We're currently at $200 out of $350 for that goal. So you've got a couple runs to get that in, and yeah, 40 minutes into the run, obviously, it'll happen. That sounds like a pretty good laugh. So get your donations in, and yeah, thanks for them all. They're all going to the Alzheimer Fonden Swedish is hard. But yeah, it basically means Alzheimer Foundation in Swedish, I'm gonna guess. So yeah, thanks a lot for the donations, and keep them coming.
Alright, so this mission right here, like I was saying, it is a little bit of downtime. It also helps if I actually hit these elevators here. This is going to be Nero's second round, or the run back with Urizen. And this time we can actually win one of the phases. There's going to be some cool strats that we do with one of the newer arms that we picked up called Helter Skelter. And Helter Skelter, when you use its break gauge or its powered up move, you'll see Nero sort of spinning forward in a drill-like fashion. And what this does is it not only does a lot of damage to the crystal that Urizen has around him that you saw sort of in the prologue, but the more damage that Urizen takes on his crystal, the more damage that Urizen does to us. We still have to fail the second part of the fight in order to progress further without a secret ending. So we have to just make sure that he does as much damage to us as possible. So after we get through the first phase using these 2 Gerberas that we have, we'll be able to just, do a ton of damage to him with the Helter Skelter and just, die in only a couple of hits here. That was actually back there was another dev intended skip. You can just sort of pass over these pits in order to skip all the enemy fights that are below them. And here we go. These enemies usually have, they're called the Baphomets. They usually have sort of a projectile shield around them, so you have to sort of soften them up with melee first before you close in on them. Before you decide to finish him off. Some breakers can also break this shield, like Punchline. Unfortunately, I decided not to take any chances with the Orb Route on this run. Otherwise, I'd be picking up Breaker Plus, which would increase the magazine size that you see I have, which is 3 currently. I would be increasing it to 4 so that I could use some extra arms on this mission, but just wanted to play it a little bit safer just because of the marathon. I wasn't counting on the mission 5 no damage though, so I don't know how that's gonna go, but we'll see. All right, here's another skip. Go ahead.
Yeah, and he can't actually no damage this mission either because it does have the force fail at the end, so he doesn't have to worry about that on this mission. And pretty much for the rest of the game, he doesn't have to worry about it. It's always nice to get it, but if he doesn't, it's not going to be a huge deal. He should still be able to get everything if I am correct.
Yeah. Right, so here we go. This is the arm that I would be using as well if I had the extra arm in the magazine here. All right, got a little bit more time for donations before the boss fight, so can you just get them in?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I can let you know what we're raising money for. So yeah, we've been raising money, as I said, for the Alzheimerfonden, which is the Swedish national fundraising organization focusing on Alzheimer's disease and other dementia-related diseases. Their aim is to increase the fundraising to the benefit of scientific research in order to find a cure for Alzheimer's. I personally have had people in my life affected by Alzheimer's disease, and it is a really horrible thing to go through. I'm sure most people probably have. So yeah, while there is no cure currently, they're obviously trying to find one, but also just make everyone's quality of life better. So yeah, thanks a lot for the donations. They're all going to a really great cause.
100%, 100%. Alright, so, Urizen here. The first phase, we're going to be taking down the crystal in order to force him into the second phase. And the way I'm going to be doing that is I'm going to be unleashing more of those petal rays, or the big array of lasers from Gerber that we talked about earlier. And that's pretty much just going to down him almost immediately. It's just going to be the couple of petal rays there as well as some roulette spins. But first we're just going to be taking the long hike up to his throne room here. You can also notice that there's a lot of different breakers littered along the ground. Unfortunately, the way that the magazines are set up in this game makes it a little bit inconvenient to pick them up, so we just don't bother with them. There we go. There's the first one.
Sometimes you just can't pick up the punchline.
There we go. There's the first phase done. Helter Skelter. So then we're just going to stand right here after doing all that damage, and you're just going to see how he just chunks us right there. And then we're just going to walk right into the laser here, and blah, Nero's down. So we're going to be switching over to V again for another mission. This is another very like movement-based mission. There's only a few fights, but there's a couple of really important skips to get on this mission. The first one is called Tree Skip. Not only because we use an orb, or I use an orb tree to do it, but also because we sort of use a tree that's in an area below us as a landmark as to where the skyboxes, the invisible walls are. And it's going to skip an entire fight that we would have to otherwise do. So number one, we're going to be building up our quick play here, or the kitty scooter that I like to call it. We didn't really see it a whole much leading up to this, because you're just riding on Shadow here, the kitty scooter. We're going to also be introduced to an enemy called the Behemoth. It has a bunch of armor on it, so what I'm going to be doing here is teleporting at it and then calling Nightmare to break its armor. And then just powering up Shadow in order to do a lot of damage if Shadow would accept my inputs. Thank you very much. And then just clean up the rest of the enemies here. Nightmare also being the good boy right now.
Nightmare doing things. What a run. Wrecky pace.
I don't think it is, but it's a good meme. It's a good meme. Alright, here we go. We're just going to build up the kitty scooter again. And just do another launch off there. This is some really nice movement here, because you actually can abuse the way that the game lets you just keep refreshing the quick play or the sprint, and just use it to continually jump up this cliff. Alright, and here
He's
goes
zooming,
Tree
dude.
Dude, it's so... That part is so fun. Alright, so here's Tree Skip. Here we go. And now we just skip the whole fight that's behind us. And then this next fight here, this is actually going to be one of like 2 fights in the game, I believe, where there are coffins around the area that you can break open and will reveal additional enemies. Obviously, we don't want to do this, so we don't actually use Griffin in this fight, ideally, because he has really high like areas of effect. Instead, we're just going to use Shadow the entire time. So we're just going to put Shadow like right about here, and then ready up the spike, and then it's not going to work because, you know, why not? Okay. What is this hitbox here? Okay, anyway.
Shadow's trying his best, man.
He is.
No bully.
Absolutely. Alright, so... Oh, this might hit, actually. Okay, never mind. Good. Alright. Ideally there, I would have just been able to one-shot both of the bats with the skewer, and then just take them both out. This is a really quick skip here. It's going to go by real quick. And this is Coffin Skip. Because, again, we use the coffin in this next room as a landmark for where we should be aligning ourselves. I can't really do it slow, though, so it's for some reason, if you just try and do it slow, it becomes harder to do. So here we go.
You basically just outrun the fight trigger. Like, just say later.
Yep, we just teleported right through a trigger there. There's no invisible wall through that door, so V can actually teleport through it. We've tested on a few other levels where we thought we would be able to do that, and there were actually invisible walls on those fight triggers, so nice of them to leave one out.
So obviously intentional.
Here we go.
You're itching to play.
We're also going to taunt these just like Nero does. I don't know why Griffin decided to attack it there, but okay. That's fine. There's the fight actually back there deactivating. This game is actually really smart in terms of how it's structured for sequence breaking, because it will deactivate fights if it detects that you're not in them for long enough. The one exception to this, I think, is the one in Mission 4. Oh, so we gotta let this play here. There we go. Excuse me.
That dude didn't like your performance, dude.
Yeah,
You went up on
right?
stage and everything.
I actually have
Never
not
seen him up there
seen...
before.
Right? I have not seen that, actually, before. That was really cool. I learned something about that enemy for some reason. I guess I just killed them too fast to really see them do anything, but... Here we go. These next enemies, the Nobodies, they're actually from DMC1 originally. They have a ton of health, and they are really aggressive. So we're actually going to be calling Nightmare here to just lay the beat down with his giant laser. Or his, I guess this would be his small laser, technically, because the giant laser you don't unlock in this run. But so what we're going to do is we're just going to beef up Shadow and Griffin here. And then start that up. Then we're going to call Nightmare, actually, who will always come into this fight with a meteor as far as I've seen. There's been very rare instances where he actually uses, like, he comes from, like, a puddle, but it's pretty much, like, 99% of the time always been a meteor. So here we go. Nightmare just taking him to Duff City. Alright. And they're going to come down soon here. As you can see, too, Skewer is so useful in fighting these enemies. Before Skewer was actually in this route, this fight used to take a lot longer. This is also one of the cooler finishers. You don't ideally want to do this in a run, just because of how slow the animation is, but it looks cool, so we'll show it.
He's a yeet.
Yeet. And now we get to my favorite stretch of missions in the game, which is missions 10 through 12, where we actually get to revisit the character that we saw about an hour ago, which was Dante from the Devil May Cry series. And he's basically just a walking arsenal, as opposed to Nero and V that sort of have like those few things that they're good at, or that they specialize in, I should say. Meanwhile, Dante just has 4 different fighting styles, tons of weapons in this game, can switch all of them at will, and can, you know, power up certain weapons with different modes, like Ignition for this weapon here that we have called Balrog. In this game, Dante actually starts with his gauntlet weapon, as opposed to the other Devil May Cry's where he has to unlock it. And it's a super, super powerful weapon.
The only downside is Dive Kick is not OP anymore.
True.
This is actually mostly because I think you have to buy jump cancels in this game, right?
That's correct, yep.
That's a thing in 4 as well, right?
Uh-huh, yep.
Yeah, so jump canceling from 3, basically where you jump off of an enemy's head and it resets your animations in the air. So you could do an attack in the air and then jump off of the enemy and then do the same attack again. And you could loop this infinitely. For some reason, this feature was locked behind having to buy it in 4 and 5. So it's just like way too expensive and not useful enough to be able to implement into runs, at least in 5. But at least they kept it in the game.
Yeah. It's true. These few missions, these couple of fights here too, you sort of kind of have to freestyle them, because Dante really doesn't have a whole lot of moves at his disposal for these fights. Not until we get to the statue here. Coming on up. And we're gonna actually do a ton of buys on this statue as well.
Yeah, you spend by far the most orbs on Dante. It's because he just has such a wide range of stuff, and his super powerful stuff is smartly locked behind really, really expensive things. So we're gonna end up getting Trickster up to level 3, Swordmaster all the way up to level 4, Stinger, Ignition 2, and that's just this first buy. We're gonna buy as Dante again later as well.
Alright, so Swordmaster level 4, Trickster level 3. Trickster level 3 is going to give us a teleport, which is going to be really nice for navigating fights quicker. Ignition 2 is going to increase the amount of time that we stay in Ignition as well. And we're just going to grab that third purple orb that I've neglected to get up until this point.
Ignition's really interesting, especially how it relates to a move called Real Impact. In DMC4, there's gauntlets as well, and they have a move called Real Impact, which is absolutely disgustingly broken in that game. It's still really strong in this game, but it has a little bit of qualifiers. You see, you just did it there. It like insta-kills a ton of stuff, at least on this difficulty, but you have to have Ignition active, which means that you have to land, what, 10 attacks in a row with Balrog?
Yep.
And you also have to have Swordmaster level 4.
You'll be seeing Real Impact used a lot during some of the bosses as well. Not in this mission, but definitely in the next one.
I was actually about to try out a Real Impact strat in this mission, because I think it's actually the same as just dying to this boss as well. But so here we go. You'll also notice that I didn't buy Dante's Sprint as opposed to the other characters. That's just because he can dash in his Trickster style infinitely in this game. And there was Stinger in Devil Trigger. Stinger in Devil Trigger just basically activates or acts like a vacuum and just pulls like enemies into you just so freely. Just has a huge hitbox, tons of damage.
Yeah, and as well as, just like with Real Impact, Stinger in DT in 4 was super overpowered as well. And they knew this, so they, in this game and in 4, I believe, they make it so that it actually uses more Devil Trigger than just normally, like just idling in Devil Trigger or doing any other attacks. So he has to be sure not to totally spam Stinger, otherwise the DT will deplete really fast.
Correct.
Is it okay for some donations?
Yeah, go for it. Yep.
Alright, okay. We got a couple here. We got a $10 donation from Defy209, who says, first time donator, long time viewer. Shout outs to Cosmic, Waifu, Scruffington, and Scruffington for being a part of this. Also, a reminder that DMC games wouldn't be possible if Dark Souls didn't exist. So I'd like to thank From Software for being awesome, no kappa. Yeah, and they put their, funny enough, put their $10 towards Dark Souls any percent ending choice, the Dark Lord.
Oh,
And then we got a $20 donation from Des, who just says, good luck on the run. And they put their $20 towards Parasite Eve new game, renaming Aya, strangely enough, Aya, or however you say the emote. So yeah, thanks a lot for the donations.
Thanks so much. Much love. So this fight right here against the Angelos, this is another fight where you can actually get an Angelo exploit here, and you just instant kill them with by pairing their formation with a Real Impact. But ideally, you're just going to be doing some Real Impacts and Devil Trigger, and then pretty much hoping that they walk into it. There are some pretty canned setups or scripted ways you're going to approach this fight. So when this enemy spawns in here, I'm actually just going to start attacking it straight off the gate, so that it's going to come out of its hole, and then we're just going to get a bunch of free Devil Trigger off of it, and then boom. Excuse me. Interesting. Alright. Alright. Well, that's unfortunate.
Another thing they did to balance Real Impact in this game, and by balance I mean try their hardest, is they made it so specifically a lot of animations that enemies recover from. Like, if you attack them, they have a recovery animation, and that animation is different depending on the attack that you hit them with. If you hit them with Balrog, almost every single attack that stuns has them like fall away from you just far enough so that you can't hit a Real Impact, which is like a huge troll, but it makes hitting Real Impacts way harder.
And then here's the force fail actually with Urizen, or we can just try and just Real Impact him because that does a lot of damage. So we'll just try it out here. Also, for those of you that don't know, Ladies, Kalina and 1 is actually available in this fight. You can pick it up right here. There's a neat little Easter egg for those folks at home. Nice RNG. This doesn't look like it's working out, but you know, we'll just go for it.
The double slow-mo real impacts.
Yeah, right?
At
Epic
least it
fight,
looks
dude.
cool.
It did.
Epic anime battle right now.
Alright, so... It's still relatively quick, I suppose, but... There we go. This next mission is probably my favorite mission in the game. It definitely includes my favorite boss fight in the run, which is Cavalier Angelo, which basically uses uses Royal Guard in order to cycle it effectively. But the movement in this mission, as well as the fights, is just really, really cool. So, here we go. So basically, this is back to present day. The last mission that we were on takes place before the prologue of the story, but now Dante's been napping for a month after getting his teeth kicked in by Urizen. And V woke him up on mission 9. So now this is Dante in present day. You see his hair is much longer and everything. And he's got his father's sword, which is identical to the sword that we had earlier. It just looks a little bit different. So here we go. First of all, we're going to wait for all these guys to spawn, and then Devil Trigger Stinger them. And then we're just going to get ignition here.
Just suck him right into the stinger.
Nope, okay. A little bit early there. Wow, that was rather aggressive of you. Alright. Here, too, there's a little bit of cool movement here that I started doing.
My city's lively. What a pain in the ass. Just gonna take it down.
Alright. Now we're just making our way to go to Cavalier Angelo. And these next fights are pretty much just wave management. This first fight, though, is completely RNG. It's on an enemy called the Hell Judeca. And we'll see if he actually gets to play or not.
I don't want him to play.
He's not going to get to play. So that's pretty much best case scenario there for the Hell Judeca, is he just stands in place and just lets us hit him with DT Stinger, so we don't even got to deal with him.
Just gives up immediately. Just take me.
Take me out, bro. Here again, we're just going to hit this Angelo with Ignition, get some free Devil Trigger off of him. Real Impact. Devil Trigger here. Did this a little bit early here. Okay, didn't hit confirm there. Boom, boom, boom. Wow, I just took that Hellbat out too. Nice.
The box on Real Impact is so big.
It's way bigger in this game than it is in 4.
It's funny because like the very start active frame is like really small, but as soon as it hits, it's like okay, just kill the whole map. It's fine. Like he hit it.
Okay. Excuse me. There we go. All right, and I'm gonna grab that little bit of Devil Trigger over here with these white orbs. So this next enemy, or this next fight here, is the boss Cavalier Angelo. And basically what I have to do is guard the projectiles that he throws at me, as well as his 4-hit combo, which is right off the gate. And then we're going to convert that into a Real Impact to break his guard. And from there we'll be able to get a quick kill by looping some Real Impacts on him into a Devil Trigger Stinger.
This is the coolest fight in this game, I think.
Oh, for sure. Especially since it uses like a lot of different mechanics, like Rail Guard and Real Impact together.
And that's the fight right there. Nice. So that's the Cavalier Angela quick kill.
Perfect.
So now we actually get Cavalier as a weapon, which is a demon motorcycle. This is easily one of my favorite weapons in the series. This weapon operates on a mechanic called gear, and it goes from gear to top gear and into over top gear. And the difference between those three gears is how fast the wheels spin and how fast your attacks are. In top gear, you also see the weapon having like a lightning effect around it, and then in over top, the wheels will be in orange. So if this guy will cooperate with me here, I don't know how that didn't hit him, but it's fine.
Bicycle too small.
Right, yeah, just this huge bike is just too small. I need something bigger. So
Ironically, it has like no reach.
right, yeah. So you see me just sort of like letting a lot of the hits rock to rev up the bike, so to speak, in order to make sure that it can do more damage as we swing. And then we also skip like 75% of this mission, but this is pretty clearly, you know, something that the devs built into the level because it's so easy to get onto these different gargoyles and in order to just skip a lot of the fights. This, however, is not intended for sure. There we go.
If I follow these grooves, when in doubt.
So basically we just have to jump. After we take out these blood clots here, this is called blood well skip. We have to open up a blood well down at the bottom in order to get to the boss fight. And normally you have to go through the tunnels here, but we don't have to do that because we can just jump from opening to opening. You see here the damage of Cavalier really coming out.
Yeah, everything just dies crazy quickly.
Alright, so I think that there's we gotta do one more clot after this and then we'll be on to Urizen. So who would like to explain the Urizen fight? Because I'm definitely not gonna be able to talk during that.
Bro, spoilers.
Bro, spoilers.
We don't get the tool yet. We don't have STT.
STT, yeah. Sin Devil Trigger. That's a gold orb. Allows us to revive ourselves. We're not going to need it, but I just figured I'd pick it up just in case. Just in case something goes horribly, horribly wrong. Alright, so
But yeah, at the end of this mission, we're gonna get a new sword called the Devil Sword Dante. Very unique and original name. It also like simultaneously gives you a new form of Devil Trigger called Sin Devil Trigger, or SDT. It's very similar to the Devil Trigger mechanic in DMC2 called Majin Devil Trigger. In DMC2, when you're at like less than 10% HP and you DT, you get like a Ultra God mode Devil Trigger. That's similar to this, but instead of being at low HP, you sacrifice your regular Devil Trigger to build up your Sin Devil Trigger gauge. Basically, it's like even more powerful Devil Trigger.
So here we go.
You start this fight already in SDT, by the way, so it immediately like this sets you right off the bat into it.
I don't know if this is going to go well, but we're going to try. There we go. And we're just going to stun him, and he's just going to go down. There we go. Good old Real Impact to the rescue.
Super good boss fight.
Yep. Also, we did meet the Faustat cutscene, so we're going to be able to watch the Faustat cutscene here. This is a really cool cutscene, so we'll let it play out.
Glad you guys met that goal. It's really sick.
Dante showing off some of his best dance moves here. Basically, what's happened here, leading up to what you really want to see in this cutscene, the squad finally meets up after everything's said and done. Everybody's sort of licked their wounds and they're ready to go and fight Urizen again. So this is first
No
reunion
one's
in a while.
there? I'm just gonna double check.
The bottles in this game are just absolutely beautiful too. Can I just say that?
Where'd that
Like,
garbage god go?
this
What
game
is
is
yours
just
after?
so good looking.
He's at the top of the Clifod.
It's the other way around, Dante. This is the lowest level of the Clifod's upper echelon. Human blood is the source of demons' power. The fruit born through the Clifod is even more dense than the blood that created it. Its power
I
is
forgot how long
unparalleled.
the build-up actually is to this
Even the
dance
Almighty
too.
Mundus used it to become
Yeah, it's the only downside to this cutscene, honestly, is the build-up
Yeah.
super long.
Yeah, well, that's a lovely story and all, but as long as we know where to find him.
It's interesting how this game is just so high octane, but then a lot of these cutscenes are like character drama.
Miss Dante. I'm Nicoletta Goldstein. Sound familiar? My grandmother is Nell Goldstein, the gunsmith that made all your fancy weapons that you got strapped back there. Yeah, there she is.
You don't much look like her.
Yeah,
And she's gonna give him a new weapon, which is
that's
a
about
hat.
all I got from him. But based on his research, I managed to cobble this. Consider it a gift in honor of us finally meeting. Meeting.
There you go. And that's the Faust hat cutscene.
I'll take that.
He'll take that, and then we're gonna move on to mission 13. So, speaking of the Faust hat, this weapon is really powerful. Can we talk about that? It's like the most powerful weapon in the run.
Faust hat says, howdy.
It's howdy. Do you want to talk about that one, waifu?
Yeah, sure. So basically the way the Faust hat works is it uses red orbs as ammo, and you can dump as many red orbs into it as you could possibly want. And it is absolutely broken. If you have a lot of money, you can like insta-kill bosses or like clear whole waves of enemies with one attack. It's kind of insane.
Yeah, pretty much as soon as Cosmic starts playing as Dante again in Mission 16, we're just going to be, or he's just going to be abusing Faust Hat for the rest of the game, basically.
Pretty much. I think there's one mission where we don't, which is mission 17, but yeah, other than that, it's just all that. This is kind of another downtime mission. So if you got anything to talk about, or donations or anything, now's a good time.
Yeah, sure. I can tell you about the prizes that we've been running for this event. So if donating to a charity wasn't a good enough excuse to donate, we also have a couple prizes that are running through the whole event. We have a ViewSonic Elite XG270QG screen, I think I got that right, and we have a Nintendo Switch. So if you meet the minimum amount donated across the whole event, not just in one donation, then you can win one of these. The ViewSonic Elite screen is $30 minimum donation, so you can do like 2 15s or 3 10s or whatever. And then the Nintendo Switch is $50. That's provided by Kaspersky. So yeah, get your donations in and you could be the lucky winner of one of these great prizes.
Excellent, excellent. You'll also notice that I've got a new arm here, which is the Buster arm. We got this way back on mission 6, but we haven't really needed it since then. So I'm just using this to bust open these points here that will spawn enemies. They're also covering the level progression markers, or the blood clots here. So I'm just kind of walking around, or just hopping around the room here, just ignoring these enemies, taking down the blood clots with the Buster arm. The Buster arm does a ton of damage. It's It's definitely, I think, one of Nero's highest forms of burst in this game, especially when you charge it all the way up. Which, you can also do some really sweet wrestling moves with it, too. Alright, so here we go. That's the end of that mission. We're also going to be moving into the last mission as V right now. And this is like the quintessential boss rush level of Devil May Cry. There's, I think, in every DMC this exists to some extent. Basically, V gets trapped in sort of this alternate reality, and he has to fight copies of bosses that you fought earlier in the game. In this mission in question, he has to fight Artemis, Goliath, and Cavalier Angelo again. But you have to pick the catch here is that you're stripped of all your summons as you go into the alternate reality, or the sort of like dreamlike state. So you have to pick them up one by one, and you have to acquire them in optimal order in order to fight the bosses. So there's a forced walking segment here, the only one in the game. And then I'm going to actually go with the risky strat here for getting Shadow on Artemis, because Skewer does an insane amount of damage on Artemis if she cooperates with me. So we're going to go ahead and try and do that. Gotta live life on the edge a little bit here. So you'll see there's 3 sort of bubbles here that I can pick up. This one is Shadow, so here we go. I should also note, by the way, that, yeah, here we go. She gave me the bad RNG. That's what I get, I suppose. Alright, so I should also note that these versions of the bosses are weaker than their regular counterparts, so all the damage that you're gonna see coming out, it's not as if like V would be able to beat these bosses into the ground if you were the one fighting them instead of Nero. It's just that these are weakened versions to compensate for his values as well as for the nature of the mission. So here we go. This should be the last bit on her. Bam. 3 skewers. Optimally, that would have ended pretty much before it began, because she would have just stayed in the middle of the arena and then fired her lasers off. The next summon we're going to pick up for fighting Goliath is going to be Griffin. Just because you don't want to pick up Nightmare here, because otherwise there's a canned animation that you have to go through after finishing Goliath, and that wastes like 20-30 seconds. So we're just gonna not do that. As cool as that animation is. And then you can also see again, really just Skewer honestly just putting in so much work on these fights. Even puts him in a stun state. And then there goes Goliath. For the final fight, we're going to actually, of course, grab Nightmare to fight Cavalier Angelo. But we're actually going to not be using Nightmare in this fight, just because he drains a lot of Devil Trigger very quickly. And I want to do all of my damage pretty much through Shadow and Griffin, because I want Shadow to be able to not break Cavalier Angelo's guard at first. I want him to land a couple of skewers before we break the guard. So here we go. Got a little bit of damage off there. Nice, again. So then we're going to be able to finish him off here. And then that's it. The fake out.
The old debated.
And that's going to be the end of that mission. There's like a little bit of walking here, and then that's pretty much the end of V. He's acquired all of his summons again, and we're just going to go in, move on to the next mission with Nero here. Scruffington and Waifu, if there's anything that maybe, I was talking over you guys about it that you wanted to touch on here while we're here, go for it now.
Well, I guess the cool thing with Mission 15 is that you get to showcase a lot of Nero's different Devil Breakers, which I think is honestly like one of the cooler parts about the Nero sections, because he doesn't have access to Devil Trigger, which you will get at the end of the game, unfortunately. So you have to come up with more creative ways to do damage to bosses. And so you'll be using Overtures and Ragtimes on the Malphus battle coming up at the end of Mission 15. But you'll also be using Buster Arm for the majority of the battles leading up to that.
That's definitely, like, I think one of the cool things about this run is that, you know, they took out items in this game. So they took out the Holy Waters, the Devil Stars, the Vital Stars, that sort of thing. But they replaced that with something a lot less binary, or, you know, it doesn't have such a binary use, which is the Devil Breakers, which not only add to, you know, Nero's arsenal, but they really sort of determine how you play out a lot of his levels, which adds a little extra layer to, like you said, you know, it's one of the cooler things about his sections, is that you just kind of get to figure out what kind of strategy you want to use to map out the rest of the level.
Yeah, definitely highlights how this run is very dense in terms of the amount of knowledge that's required to actually speedrun it. Because you need to know 3 different characters, you need to know all of Dante's different styles, and then you need to understand also what Nero's Devil Breakers can do. So it's a really cool showcase of just how many different things you can do in this game.
That's definitely why it's my favorite. It just takes, it's like an amalgamation of pretty much every Devil May Cry run, and then it just mashes it all into one. Alright, so here's this little bit of movement here. We would just avoid all these spikes, and then we're going to be fighting some more chaos, these little wheelie boys here.
Yeah, that's especially true as well. Like, this run is pretty much an exact, like, mixture between, like, DMC 1, 2, 3, and 4's runs all together. Like, it has orb routing that's very similar to DMC 1, but in that game, it's basically all orb routing, and the execution isn't as high. But it also has really high execution, just like 3 and 4. It's really cool as a speedrunner, like, because of that. It's got a nice balance to it. So it's not entirely dependent on you executing well, but it's also not insanely route heavy.
Also some pretty cool out of bounds skips, but it's like a lot of the skips in DMC are like very DMC-esque. So until you get to like Reboot in this game, and they're more like traditional speedrun skips. So not only do you get like some very cool like DMC qualities to the run that are all mashed together, you get some very like traditionalist speedrun sort of tech in there too. We're also going to just run right past the Cleveland Browns defensive line here and go on to the Behemoth. And once we break his armor here, we're going to just do a buster on him. And that's going to just spin him right round and do a light. There you saw just 75% of his health gone. Buster arm is also just going to one-shot these Angelos.
These fights can be a little scary because if you're using your Buster Arm to kill an enemy and another enemy attacks you during that, you can actually lose your Buster Arm. So hopefully that doesn't happen here.
It can be very upsetty spaghetti. Alright, and then the Hell Judeca fight as well. This enemy is pretty easily controlled in this fight just because you can launch it with a roulette spin into another Buster Arm. And then you just have to take out the rest of the enemies with some Buster Arm combos, and then we'll move right into the Malphus fight, where we're going to be doing something very similar to what we did on Mission 1. We're just going to plant a lot of overtures on Malphus, and then we'll just take her out that way.
You okay for some donations?
Yeah, go for it.
Alright, we got a couple here. We got a $31 donation from username Niels. I think I'm reading that right. And they said, I wake once more. Time to watch some more ESA Marathon. And yeah, it is pretty early for everyone who isn't Oceanic, I suppose. Yeah, thanks for getting up. And yeah, they put their $31 towards Skies of Arcadia Legends Any Percent. Are they going to fight the imposters? And then we got another $30 donation, also about waking up, from Ryan208, who says, glad I could make it, or not waking up, but glad I could make it home in time to catch your run. plus also donate to a great cause. How much for you to learn the Dante dance from that cutscene?
You know, that would just be so priceless that I don't think I can put a price on that. So, we'll go with that.
Alright. Good. So yeah, thanks a lot for your donations, and thanks everyone who's trying to get awake or get home to watch the marathon. Yeah, thanks a lot.
Oh, no, that's bad. Okay.
So Malphus has this thing where when she hits you, she like has a cutscene that plays, and if that cutscene plays, then all of the overtures that you place on her despawn. So that's really, really bad if you place your overtures and then you get hit, because you lose all of your damage for this fight. That almost happened to one of his overtures. It was pretty scary.
Yeah, the safety strat is to just get hit first to trigger the cutscene so that doesn't happen. So still a clean fight.
Still decided to live on the edge. I don't know why I decided that, but we did it.
Gotta go fast, man.
All right.
You're tired too. It's like,
yeah, just motivated, dude, to just go even faster. All right, so mission 16. This is another stretch of Dante missions, and we're gonna actually be picking up Gunslinger level 4 here, which is gonna give us access to an ability called Red Hot Night with the Faust hat. And basically, we're just gonna spend a bunch of orbs to call down a rain of meteors on all the enemies, and it's gonna do a lot of damage, and it's gonna clear everything, and it's gonna be overpowered, and it's gonna be great. Because
good old pay to win.
Yeah, we're gonna be hitting them with the high noon, McCree style. So here we go.
Dante stole his mom's credit card and is now going to make a few transactions.
All right, here we go. So. And there's the meteors right there. Oh, okay. Apparently you didn't want to do anything, sir. Apparently you didn't want to die, but that's fine. Alright. That's not what I wanted to do. Here we go. Boom. So you see here as well the red bar that's above my purple bar. That's the Sin Devil Trigger bar that Waifu was talking about earlier. So I already sacrificed a bunch of Devil Trigger for Sin Devil Trigger, but we're not going to use that until the boss fight here, which is going to be another fight with a Cerberus. And we're going to charge up the Red Hot Night here. And they're going to go down. This fight right here is a little bit hard to manage as well if you don't get it correctly. Alright, so we're going to take out this guy right here. Oh, not going to hit it. That sucks. This is unfortunate. Yep, that's what I thought. Alright, so this is the Fury who just likes to teleport around. And since I didn't get a correct wave clear here, he's going to be a little bit harder to take out. But once he's down, so we're Gucci. That fight could have been a lot worse. But and then this should be also the last fight with the Hell Judecca. We're just going to meteor it, too. Oh, that's not what I wanted to do. That's no Cosmic. That's that's Shotgun Stinger, and then that was Kalina Ann. But it's fine. It worked out.
It's confusing, okay? He's got like 12,000 weapons. Alright.
True. Alright, here we go. And then these nobodies. Remember these guys from earlier, how much health I said they had? Yeah, I take that back. They're going down. Especially the Cavalier. And Faust. And then we're going to wait a little bit here and then start charging once we see that spawn there from another Baphomet-style enemy. Forget their name, actually. And they're going to go down. And then Cerberus here. We're going to be trying to cleave a bunch of all three of Cerberus's heads in order to knock it down. And then I'll be doing a couple of real impacts, hopefully into some Cavalier combos, and that should down him. But it's finicky, so we'll just hope for the
He's
best.
a bit random, so we just hope that he is a good boy. A good pupper.
Hopefully. There we go. Oh wow, nice. Perfect fight actually.
What a good boy.
Thank you, doggo, for being so nice. And then mission 17 is going to be just one boss. It's going to be the final fight against Urizen. It's actually unfortunate to me that we get the Cerberus weapon so late in this run. I would really like to be able to use it for more. This is just going to be looping some real impacts on the boss in order to just force him to teleport, because this boss operates on health thresholds in order to know what attacks he's supposed to do and where he's supposed to be on the map. So there we go. I let it rocked a little bit too long there. Alright. That's fine. And then he's going to be going down. So a lot of the rest of this game is mostly a boss rush across multiple levels, because we have to fight Urizen here, and then it's actually revealed, spoilers, that V is the human half of Dante's brother Virgil. And now we're actually going to have to be fighting V's pets in order to get to fight Virgil at the very end of the game. This is just going to be a whole lot of, again, a whole lot of Faust-tatting them just to kill them quickly. And then once we fight Nightmare, we're going to be just taking them down with Cavalier Angelo.
Never would have guessed you'd come back. Damn it, V.
It's actually impressive how quickly a lot of these missions go by near the end of the game.
Yeah, it's mostly just because, like, it's mostly just fighting, but Dante doesn't need to fight because he's got that cash money, so you just skip, like, the whole end of the game, basically.
Can't wait for the revenge.
Your father's legacy, priceless. Faust-tat meteors, 6,750 orbs. For everything else, there's Faust-tat. So there went Griffin, by the way. I know he was gone in the blink of an eye, but I swear he was there. And then here goes Shadow. This is also called the money gun, lovingly called the money gun, because you literally just spit money out of Dante's hands.
Running away? Nah, didn't think so.
And then this is a fight between both Griffin and Shadow, but you only need to take out Shadow for some reason. And of course he teleported. You jerk.
It's all good. Dante got cash to spend.
So let's hope that have enough money to down him quickly. There we go. Alright, excellent. So the way that Nightmare operates here is on a timer, and if the timer expires before you've done a certain amount of damage to him, he'll disappear, and then you'll have to down both Griffin and Shadow before fighting him again. So let's hope we can actually fix.
Slow.
Yeah. So let's hope that we can actually skip that phase entirely.
This fight basically devolves into Skyrim combat, where you just like mash melee at each other until someone falls over.
Oh goodness, I just got comboed too. There we go. Excellent. And that is the phase skip there.
Nice fight.
So this next fight is the last bit of RNG in the run, and time's going to be coming up in a couple of minutes. There's only 2 missions left, but they're only 1 boss each, and they're super quick. So just all hands on deck for that. This first fight against Virgil here, I'm just going to Faustat him with a level 3 meteor, and it's going to hopefully take out all of his health. So this might take a couple of tries, but we're going to go for it.
I won't lose to the likes of you, little brother.
I think we figured out who got the inheritance.
And that is actually first try Virgil, just nuked off the face of the earth. Alright, so this next fight is the last fight of the game, so time should be coming up in about 30-40 seconds. Basically, Nero grows back his arm that he got stolen from the Demon King Urizen, and now he gets to fight Virgil with it, who is, you know, spoilers again, his dad. So here we go. Nero's going to be a little bit inappropriate here, but we'll ignore him. So, and we'll just do the long version here. Time's coming up in a couple of seconds. 3, 2, time. And that is Devil May Cry 5, New Game Human.
Nice job, dude.
Thank you.
GG.
That's a pretty decent run, yeah. Decent run for Marathon. I just want to thank again ESA for having me on, Scruffington and Waifu. I want to thank you guys for joining me on commentary. It's been an absolute blast as always, gentlemen. And
Yeah, that was awesome. Thanks for having us.
yeah.
If you guys haven't, you definitely should go follow Cosmic. He speedruns every Devil May Cry game, so you should do that.
And you should follow these gentlemen as well, Scruffington and Waifu, because they speedrun these games. Waifu does more, but we're going to just talk about Devil May Cry today. And don't forget that Bayonetta's coming up next by Galazrini, too.
Yeah, that's going to be hype.
That's going to be awesome.
Oh, I was gonna say that. Okay.
My bad.
It's fine. It's
My
fine.
bad. Gal is a homie,
yeah.
so I gotta chill.
Better hurry up. We still got a score to settle.
Yeah. So yeah, coming up next is Bayonetta by Galazrini. I think you said the name better than I could though, so that's fine. So yeah, stay tuned, and we'll be back shortly with the next run. Thanks a lot for watching, and thanks for the run.
Why do you think I'm going?
No problem.
Somebody's got to keep an eye on that one.